pick small changes, small customs that fit in the way you live that allow you to eat less while still enjoying the foods you eat. So these are the general guidelines. There are no rules to eating. The minute you put a rule in, you get some problems. So eat less while enjoying your foods that you eat. That is the #1 guideline of eating, of being a human. Right now, we need to eat a little bit less, but we have to enjoy the foods that we're eating. Eat lots of fruits and vegetables. There's a number of reasons behind this. You can look at the health benefits, etc., of fruits and vegetables. But we talked today at lunch about the idea of avoiding foods. And you shouldn't really ever avoid a food. Let's look at simple sugars. Every piece of food has a place in your diet. But by making sure you have a lot of variety, and including things like fruits and vegetables, you can't possibly overdo one type of food. If you're eating less, enjoying the foods you eat, and eating a wide variety, you don't have to avoid sugar because you're already doing it. Right? If you're eating less than you normally eat, you've already reduced the amount of sugar you're eating. And now you've been incorporating new foods and things like fruits and vegetables. There isn't room left on that plate for tons and tons of simple sugars. And that's the benefit of variety and one of the main benefits of just fruits and vegetables. And try to, with fruits and vegetables, explore. There's tons of them. And I bet you each and every one of us has about 4 or 5 favorites that we stick to. So variety. Lots of herbs and spices. There are research studies with benefits of herbs and spices. And that's great. The thing about herbs and spices is they're new flavors, and they replace things. Herbs and spices replace sugar and salt. Again, you're not avoiding sugar and salt. You're just replacing it with something better. You still have your sugar and salt. You're just learning to try and flavor foods with new things. And this is the one that it's kind of vague, but we're going to work on it. Food rather than food substances. Any chance you have to eat a meal that was made by you or someone you know will always be better than a food that you bought. A food that goes bad quickly will generally be better than a food that you can put on your windowsill and that will last for 3 or 4 or 5 months. So these are just very simple guidelines. There's nothing wrong with foods that have been preserved. They're not evil, they're not bad. You just want a mix of the two, and you want to concentrate on the one because right now there's a lack of balance in most of our diets and we're concentrating a little bit too much on the other. And the most important one is don't stress about what you eat. There is no magic effect of these foods, and outside these guidelines there really isn't much more to go off of. I mean, we can argue and debate and go back to metabolism and look at different protein ratios, etc. In the end of the day, it will always come down to how much you eat and the ways of eating that make you enjoy eating the most. Okay, so an observation on rules. The more complicated the diet program is, the lower your level of success. The less complicated it is, as long as it involves some sort of caloric restriction, the better you're going to do. There is a reason for very complicated diets. If I put in Eat, Stop, Eat, my book, 30, 40 rules, really complicated ones. And then let's say you didn't lose weight on my diet. I could ask you, did you follow all 30 and 40 rules? And you say, yeah, I followed every single one except I couldn't have a green pepper every morning because green pepper kind of upsets my stomach. Well, then I'm off the hook. I can tell you, well, you didn't follow my diet then. Rules are added in to a lot of diet programs simply to protect the authors and the plan. If you make it impossible to follow the diet, and because of our nature and sort of slipping into that theory that there's nothing wrong with the diet, it must be me, I put the onus completely on you, and I dissolve myself of any responsibility or the fact you didn't lose weight. And that's why you find a lot of rules in diet programs. Just some diet programs really have chapters that are just rule 1 through 150 listed out for you, and some of them are just nearly impossible for anybody to do, and it gets right back to the idea of a perfect diet. The less rules that are made by someone else, and the more customs and just sort of habits that are good you've made for yourself, the better off you're going to do. Back to creating a deficit. So the key to weight loss success is longevity. The key to longevity is flexibility. If you set your diet up in a way that you're eating on a diet plan, you know those rotating diet plans, 5 days, every 5 days you switch back to day 1 and you're eating the same things. If you're being strict with something like that and you fail, and you don't have any flexibility, any way to compensate, any way to change it, you're going to get bored. You're going to find yourself in situations like holidays where you just simply can't eat in this manner. Okay? And it will fall apart. So flexibility is another key to eating. You're going to have days where you eat a lot. They're almost unavoidable if you're going to have any social interaction with any other people in your life. Human beings by nature, we celebrate with food. We celebrate birthdays. We celebrate holidays. Super Bowl games. I mean, we celebrate everything. You can either avoid every single celebration in your life, or you can accept the idea of flexibility that on some days you're going to eat a little more, and on some days you're going to eat a little less. If you accept the idea that on some days eating a little less is not bad, it's not evil, despite what you've read in magazines, how you should never ever compensate and eat a little less sometimes. These normal fluctuations and allowing yourself to be flexibility will give you the power to control how much you eat and still enjoy celebrations and your food choices. Okay, this is a fun one. How to burn fat. This is the million-dollar question, which, as I said in the beginning, is amazing since every single one of us knows how to burn fat. Our bodies are amazing at burning fat. You're all doing it right now. Burning fat is simple. You just have to give your body the opportunity to show what it can do. Everybody here can burn fat, can lose fat. No one here has some sort of crazy disease where actually the body fat on your body is permanent, made of concrete, and will never go away. We can all burn fat, and we don't have to teach our bodies how to do it. The interesting thing is the two combinations that we're looking for here is if you diet, lower your calories just a little bit, you're going to lose body fat. To make sure that you're losing the highest proportion of body fat you can, you add in a resistance training. Craig's been showing you a lot of cool things. That is body weight training, which is still resistance training. What that does is it shows your body that you are using these muscles. These are in use. You can't use them, which means they're preserved while you're dieting. And multiple trials show that even people are on, in my opinion, ridiculous diets you'd only ever do in a clinical research trial while being watched by both PhDs and medical doctors, things like 800-calorie a day diets for 12 weeks. When they're resistance training, they're maintaining their lean mass. And if they're maintaining their lean mass, that lean mass is not used as a fuel. And the only other thing you really have available as a fuel is your body fat. So by weight training, you allow your body to burn as much body fat as possible while you're following a slightly calorie-restricted diet. And that's the major benefit. That's why these two fit so well together. You can create your deficit through exercise if you wish. But you can also create your deficit through diet, which when you're talking about small numbers is actually fairly easier. And you can use weight training or any form of resistance training to maintain your muscle mass. The combination of reduced body fat and increased muscle mass seems to be the combination that points to better health for humans over a long period of time. I was asked about the idea of your metabolism or metabolic rate slowing down as you get older. What they're finding is that the degree to which you slow down in your old age is largely dependent on the amount of body fat you've been carrying, that burden you put on your body carrying around all that weight for so many years, and the amount of muscle mass you're managing to maintain, which, yes, has a small effect on your metabolic rate, but a very large effect on your ability to move around. If you cannot get up and out of a chair without a lot of discomfort and pain because it's hard work, you're going to do it less. If getting up and out of a chair and moving around is simple to you, you're going to do it. So you're going to stay active, you're going to stay moving around, and that seems to be the key to longevity right now. So burning fat is simply, with muscle, is use it or lose it, just like your brain, just like everything else. As long as you are using your muscle mass, and not to the point where you've hurt your arm and you can't work out for weeks on end. As long as you're using it, it's going to stay there for you. It's going to adapt. It's going to get stronger. And it's going to lead to you maintaining muscle mass while you're dieting. Okay, so we're going to touch a little bit now on Eat, Stop, Eat. And there's not really going to be pushing the idea of fasting. I hope that most of you have read the book. If not, we can take care of that afterwards. But what I want you to learn is the keys you can learn from fasting, the benefits of fasting. Because, well, it is a simple and easy way to make a calorie deficit. There's a lot more that you can get from fasting from simply just the deficit. Eat, Stop, Eat is living without obsessive compulsive eating, eating less while you enjoy the foods you eat, losing weight simply and easily, and trying to make sure all of that weight is body fat, or as much as possible. So the fasting and resistance training are just the simplest and easiest means to get to those ends. But what I want you to think about is it's the only time in your life where you are getting